go.
Alright guys, this is Tent Building 101. I'm at Patrick's Point Campground with my family. I want you to notice this is a small tent, but this same theory applies to all big tents, any tent. But notice the size of this. It's got to look like that when you put it back together. So that's the hardest part of this whole thing. So you roll your tent out. This is a carpet I have, but it can be here or not, or it could be a tarp. Doesn't matter. If you have a tarp, great. If you don't, then you just go on the ground. Okay, we got stakes, poles, tent. Okay? Notice the tent, this particular tent is folded in half. This is important. This is important. How was it folded originally? So it's folded in half, so basically fourths. Okay? Now, right here is the rain fly. And you got to use a rain fly, especially out here on the coast, because it'll get wet. All right. Now, I don't stake my tent first. And first thing I'm going to do is get the poles in. And all we got to do with the poles, real quick, you got to assemble your poles, okay, real fast. Let me show you. Okay, maybe real slow, real fast, real slow. Okay, like this. Here we go, here we go. I got them. You usually have your main house poles, and if you just put them nice and long like this, the little bungee cords in them will automatically make a pole. See how that happened? Watch, let me do that again. This is going to be the fly pole, the rain fly pole, and here's another house pole. Now, most tents have something like this. Most tents make an X as their house, and then they might have a couple other poles on the sides. This is, because it's small, is going to have just basically an X for its main house, and then it's going to have a couple small poles. I don't know if this tent goes, that pole goes with my tent. All right, here we go. So we're going to make our X. Here's how this works. This is critical. You're going to go through, you're going to slide through these openings. They're like little tubes. See how that's working? Okay, now look, you got to be careful. Don't push too hard. Don't pull. If you pull, watch what happens. If I pull, it comes apart. See how it came apart in there? And I don't want that. So I always want to push. And this is where working as a team really helps. Okay, you got to go through the other side. Now we're going to make that X. See how I was talking about the X? This is the main part of the house. And most all tents have some sort of X as their main building. Okay? So we're going to, again, pushing. Notice I'm pushing, not pulling. And I'm going to kind of lay this about center of the pole. I'm going to grab my other house pole, and I'm going to do the same thing, except now, of course, this one's going to cross, forming the X to this one. And you'll notice that there's a little tie right there. I could tie this on the poles, but I'm not going to actually do that for this. I rarely actually do that for most tents, but you could. Okay, now, here's something that's important. Check this out. Here, most modern tents these days have this. And some kids think that that's a spike. No, that's not a spike. That goes up. And what that does is it goes in the end of the pole, like that, so that the pole can't go anywhere. So what I do is I put that one in. And again, if you're using two people, this works easier. But if you get good at this, you can do it alone. I'm going to put this one in here. I'm going to see the nice pretty truck over there. Okay, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to start with this one. What you do is bend it up. As you do this, trying to center your tent. And you got to grab this end and do the same thing. Watch. See how I did that? Now this, I don't want to mess this up, so you got to just be careful. You don't tear the tent. Got it. Come on over through this one and check it out. I got my house. I made that X. And most tents do it that way. Most tents give you an X for your main house. Now, if it's a much bigger tent, you'd probably have a side thing where it has a pole. But mainly, you got to get your main house up. That's where you could tie that if you want to do. Now, here's the next thing. Notice that I did not stake it yet. However, I'm going to tell you right now, when you're in cold country or wet country, it's important that you get your tent pretty tight. Not so tight you're going to carry anything, but when it comes time to stake it in these corners, I want to make sure it's nice and firm, so it's got a good firm side, so that when water does hit it, it just rolls right off. Okay, now usually what you do is once you got the main poles up, you just snap your clips on. And again, most tents have some form of clip like this. I don't know, depends on what you got. Hey, here's good news. This tent, I bought this tent, I think at Big 5 or at Gates Resale. Probably for, if I remember right, because I'm kind of a cheap guy, this is about a $25 tent, believe it or not. And I've had it for years and years and years and years. And I've used it for all kinds of stuff. Now, what I like about this particular tent is it's got a really good rain fly. Some tents just cover some rain flies just cover this screen. But the thing is, this material is not waterproof. This is, but not this. So if it gets soaking wet. Okay. Now, the rain fly. The rain fly goes on. And what we do with the rain fly, here's the trick with the rain fly. Connect your 4 corners, and this is on big tents too. Connect your big corners. See, this has got a bungee, or sometimes I'll have a little clip. Just clip it there. I mean, I'll have a snap buckle. This has the little clips. Get your 4 corners attached. Real simple. And then I put the pole in. Because most rain flies, you don't want the fly, this is important in tent construction. We don't want the fly really laying on the tent, because if the rain starts doing this, it's going to cause a lot of moisture to build up underneath and then soak in. We don't want that. So then the pole would just go through the top, and then most tents, like this one, has a little pocket, see? And what we do is you shove that pocket, the pole into the pocket, like so, and then on the other side, same thing. We got a pocket somewhere there. All right, got it. That's it. That makes a nice, so you can see it raises that out. And then all we do is take our guy wire, if we got them, and we pull that nice and tight, stake it to the ground right there. That way, it's not touching the tent. We don't want our fly touching the tent if we can help it. Okay, so that's our tent. Come here and look in the inside. This pole doesn't go with my tent. I don't even know I have this pole, because I have about 20 tents in school. Check it out. Look how nice that is. That could be home. Technically, that's a 3-person, but it's pretty crowded. But I'd say that's a 1 or 2 if you want to have all your gear. Okay. Look how long that took. Maybe 5 minutes, 8 minutes. Now, next, I'm going to take it down. Watch how fast. This is the trick. When you take it down, clean it all out, sweep it out. Reverse exactly the steps that you did. Here goes my fly pole. Notice when I take these apart, I just go like this. Hold them. Okay. I'm going to do it real fast. Because you got to see me get this thing folded back up. Okay? All right. Fly comes off. Set it aside. Unclip my snaps. There we go. Okay, never mind that weird sound. It's my daughter's over there making noise. Do you see the ocean? Beautiful ocean here. This is Patrick's Point. There we go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take off my, pull off my spikes. Huh? Same thing over here. It comes flat. Now, and again, you're going to have this trouble of push and pull. These poles don't pull well because you pull them. Oh, here's another thing. Don't walk on it. Walk under it. That's how I lifted it. I'm not walking on my tent. No footprints. And again, this tent's pretty old, but look, it looks pretty nice, huh? Because I take good care of it. I don't walk on it. Get all dirty. Switch poles, and watch how I do this. Just fold, unfold, fold. You can buy these too if you break them, which is a bummer if you break them. But all right, here we go. Now here's the trick. Remember, how many sections do we have our tent? Now, you're tired, camp's over. Maybe this stuff's all wet. Doesn't matter. Still's got to be packed up good. You got to get it home. Oh, so trick is, don't forget the rain fly. Rain fly's got to go on top. Okay. Rain fly's got on top. I just usually toss them. Okay. This was, remember, in 4 sections. So we had it folded in half. I'm sorry, folded like about a 1/4. And another 1/4. Now you notice it's puffing up. It's puffing up because it's got air in it. Usually I just kind of lay on it, walk on it, get all your air out of it. So now we got to go in a half. Do that. Okay. Wipe off any dirts. Look at all the air. You got to get the air out. If you don't get the air out, it's not going to fold up. You get the air out. the hardest part of dealing with tents. Right here, the hardest part. You gotta take your time. And since that doesn't go with my tent, I'm gonna leave that out because that's not supposed to do that. Okay, that goes in my school. Holes go back in. This little doohickey just wraps around it, no big deal. Tie it like so. Keeps it tight. Okay. Here's my tent spikes. I didn't use them, but you saw. I lay those there, tent spikes there. And what we do, this sometimes takes 2 or 3 times, because you gotta get the air out. Now, if I had a tent bag, which I don't for this tent, that is something that fell apart on me. If you had a tent bag, you'd have to roll this tight enough to get it back in the tent. Here's where it gets tricky. You gotta take your time. You might want to have to unroll it a little bit. Re-tighten it. Oh, your air out. Okay? And usually I'll redo it. Make sure I get it nice and tight. Always keeping it straight. Okay? Once you have that, you're gold. And then you got some sort of attachment. This is just a little lace thing. And we go like so. Ba-bam. Okay. Notice pretty darn clean. And that is my tent. Okay. You got it.